How's it going, everyone? You're watching Benko Reviews, and this is my review of the LG G2. Now, you've probably seen this phone in commercials based on its back buttons. Now, let's go ahead and take a closer look. Now, taking a look at the specs of the LG G2, it's running a 2.26 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 800 processor. Now, this is a pretty high-end processor, and it should do well. It has 2 GB of onboard RAM, 32 GB of storage with LTE capabilities, and a 3,000 mAh battery powering this all. On the back, you have a 13 megapixel camera, and on the front, you have a 1.9. So this is a pretty big screen with a 1920 by 1080 display that is full HD, and it's 5.2 inches, so it's pretty big. Now let's move on to the design. Looking at the design of the LG G2, on the front that you can see that this is a 5.2 inch screen, and it normally is a pretty large screen, but the way they've designed it, it has very minimal bezels, as you can see, and the tops are pretty short, so it makes it kind of small for a 5.2 inch screen. It does feel pretty small, and it does feel very comfortable thanks to some curved back edges, and it does feel nice with its smooth plastic. It doesn't feel as cheap because it's a non-removable back, and it's pretty thick. So on the back, we have your main buttons, which is your volume up, volume down, and your power button. It does have an LED ring when you turn it on or off. And we also have your 13 megapixel camera with a single LED flash. And that's really all you have for buttons on this phone. It's a pretty simple phone. And you do have your SIM tray on the side. But that's really about it for design. It does feel pretty good in the hands, and it's a nice size, really good. And the bezel's so small, sometimes your hand will touch it like this. And sometimes triggers the screen, but really no problems, and it does feel good in the hand, and it's pretty easy to get used to the back buttons. I thought it wouldn't be a bit more of a big deal, but it's not really as big a deal as I thought it would be. Now, the LG G2 software-wise is running an Android 4.2.2 out of the box, probably an Android 4.3 update coming soon, and it is really customized by LG's custom UI. And it does add a lot of features, like such as customizing the apps itself. You can go into this menu and customize the way it looks. You can really customize anything in the settings menu, so it's pretty cool. You double tap to get to multitasking, and it is pretty cool that you can do these customizations, but I did think they went a bit overboard in all these animations. So in settings, you can really customize anything. The way your front touch buttons are, you can add 4 buttons or just keep 3. Reorganize really anything, how long your screen's, just all that stuff. But it also does have a lot of customization on the screen. Pretty much every app looks different. It still is really zippy, and performance is really good, even with LG skin. The biggest feature in this phone I found myself personally using is the double tap to turn on, and it just gets you right back in. It's pretty easy, and it just replaces using the back button. I'm not really a huge fan of this skin, but it is okay, and it's definitely better than some skins out there. It's not as good as TouchWiz in my opinion, and I'd rather have it running stock, but it is a decent skin, and if you're looking for an easy customization, this is probably where you'll have it. Everything runs really smooth on this phone, and I can make it all day with the battery on this phone. Pretty heavy use with a lot of messaging, a few calls here and there, and a lot of browsing on YouTube. So really overall, the software side of this phone, I really did enjoy to use, and I feel like I could use this every day. LG really did add a lot of features in the camera front of this phone, and the 13 megapixel shooter does take some pretty detailed shots, and I was pretty impressed with the photos it took. Now, a lot of features are customizable, and they do have features like zoom audio, is where while you're filming you can zoom in on the subject and you can hear their audio better, supposedly. It did increase the volume in my use, and it did add a bit better. And you can also do a lot of the Samsung features like the double filming, and you can do the double screen where you have yourself and the front facing camera filming, and the camera did take some good shots, and I was pretty impressed with it overall. In the few calls I did make on this phone, call quality sounded fine as usual, nothing really above par. Speakerphone sounded fine, a bit tinny at times, but overall it was fine, and connection was really no problem. Moving on to my final verdict of the LG G2, I am giving it a 9.0 out of 10. really this is the flagship LG needs to get them back in the game. The only thing really holding them back, in my opinion, is their UI, and I think if the Nexus rumors end up being true and it's really similar to this, that is going to sell really well. So this phone is pretty good, battery life was solid, everything was really good. I like this phone a lot, and if you root this phone, you will really be loving this. LG's features were pretty good, and the back buttons didn't add too much value to it, but overall I just really like the form factor of this phone, and it was an excellent phone in my opinion, worth the buy of anyone who really wants these features in the LG G2. So thanks for watching this review. Be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.